Hi, guys. Mr. Wiggins, reading Chapter 9 of Lonely Calvin. As Thomas and Sammy get closer to the end of the tunnel, it isn't the light that draws their attention. It's the shadows that are moving. Do you see that? Thomas asks. You mean the shadows? Yeah, I see them, and I don't like them, Sammy says. Creeping up, creeping up on us, close as they are, they dare the children hear strange chattering in the distance. I know what that is. It sounds like our playground at recess, Thomas says. Looking at Thomas with the sideways head tilt, Sammy tries to understand what Thomas is describing. Oh, I hear it. They're playing. It sounds like kids having fun. Do you think they're kids trapped down here like us? Sammy asks. How would a bunch of kids get trapped underground? Thomas asks. I don't know. Maybe they have always lived underground, like mole people. Maybe you have special powers that let them see in the dark and strong arms to dig tunnels, Sammy asks. Well, that sounds kind of creepy. There's only one way to find out who they are. Let's go closer and take a look, Tommy says, grabbing Sammy's hand and walking toward the noise while hugging the cave wall, inching closer and closer. As they walk, Sammy begins to wonder what school in a cave would be like. Playing in the dark? Learning in the dark? How many kids would truly become lost? Walking back to class from the bathroom in the dark? How would teachers see you raise your hand to ask a question? Oh, but hide and seek would be great. You could hide anywhere. A pitch black area to hide in. Seekers would never find anyone. Walking in front of Sammy, Thomas is the first to notice that the roof of the tunnel is getting lower. Look, Thomas whispers, pointing to the roof. What are those? Tree roots? Sammy asks. Weird, right? I don't know. They grew so deep. I didn't know tree roots grew so deep, Thomas says. Above their heads is an intricate mass of webbing made of thousands of woody tree roots. The cave ceiling is completely covered in many layers. It looks like a big pot of spaghetti noodles, Sammy says. Grabbing hold of one long root hanging next to his head, Thomas gives it a little tug to test its strength. When he hears, ouch, quit it! Who said that? Thomas calls out. Silence fills the chamber. Sammy, did you hear that? Thomas asks. Sammy? Turning towards where his friend was, Thomas has a terrible thought that he is alone. Sammy, where are you? Thomas frantically calls out. Sammy, this isn't funny. Answer me. Thomas continues calling, becoming more agitated and more scared than he has ever been before. Thomas finds himself stabbing in the darkness with his hands, fighting tears welling up inside him. Thomas chokes down his fear as best he can and decides he knows how to be alone and how to get some answers. Reaching back up to the tree roots, Thomas grabs hold of a plump dangling root and yanks hard. Hey, that's enough of that, comes a voice from the darkness. Pointing his flashlight toward the sound, Thomas catches a glimpse of a shadow rushing across the floor. Wait, who are you? Help me! I'm all alone, Thomas yells out. Walking to the far end of the tunnel, Thomas hopes the voice will come back, but only silence fills the air. Okay, if you don't show yourself, I'm going to pull one of these roots right out of the ceiling, Thomas says. Reaching up, Thomas grabs 2 handfuls of roots and begins tugging. Take it easy, Thomas. Everything is all right. You don't need to be afraid, Sammy says, walking from behind a dense ball of roots across the room. Sammy, where are you? Thomas asks. Maybe I should just show you. Or actually, maybe I should show you who I'm with. Who? Thomas says. Just watch, Sammy says, walking back to where she came from and whispering to the large root ball on the floor. Okay, Thomas, here they are, Sammy says. All at once, the tree roots clinging to the cave roof begin falling to the floor and gathering into individual things that remind Thomas of hypno bushes that tried to imprison Sammy and him. Soft light pulsing through the long limbs gives the cave a glow like a sun before it rises all the way over a mountain. What are these things? Thomas says. I haven't figured that out yet. But they haven't hurt me. They only grabbed me when you were grabbing them, Sammy explains. Can they talk? Thomas asks. Yes. Remember? They talked when you pulled on them. Okay, so what are you things? Thomas yells. Thomas, that is not polite. Be nice, Sammy says. What my friend is asking is, we have never seen anything or anybody like you. Can you talk with us a little? We have never seen anything anybody like you, responds the closest root thing. Oh, I imagine that is true. Our names are Thomas and Sammy, Sammy says. Our names are Thomas and Sammy, the root says. No, we are Thomas and Sammy. Who are you? Sammy asks. No, we are Thomas and Sammy. Who are you? The root ball says. Thomas, they don't understand us. What are we going to do? No, they don't understand us. Watch this. No, they understand. Watch this. Clearing his throat, Thomas shouts, I am a fluffy feathered chicken butt. You are a fluffy feathered chicken butt, comes the response Thomas expected. See, I told you. They are messing with us. So what are they? Immature balls of tree roots? Sammy asks. All right, you guys. Who is in charge here? Thomas says, using his deepest, most authoritative teacher voice. Look, we're not playing any games. We need help, Sammy says. For reasons unknown to Thomas, he isn't afraid of these things. It isn't like when he gets bullied by the older boys, maybe because these things are some kind of plant. Thomas just isn't scared of them, or maybe because of the silly echo joke they're trying to play. He can't think of them as mean or dangerous, just kind of silly. Walking up to the closest root ball, Thomas places himself directly in front of it. Okay, you know my name. What's yours? Yukam, says the root creature. What? Your name is Yukam? Thomas asks. No, you come, says the voice. As Thomas is attempting to understand the creature, all the roots grab hold of Sammy and Thomas and begin climbing back to the ceiling, wrapping the kids in their limbs, holding them tight in their grasp. Hey, cut that out! You better let us go right now, or Thomas says, until he is interrupted. You not safe, watch, says a root next to Thomas. Held high above the cave floor, Thomas and Sammy watch as the floor begins to turn bright red and go from solid rock to liquid. I told you lava created these tunnels, Thomas said. Not lava, magma, says the roots. What's the difference, Thomas asked. Magma underground, lava above ground, the voice says. Are we safe? Are we going to burn from the heat? Sammy asked, concerned for their safety. No, on roof only gets warm. Just don't touch, comes the response. Watching the magma rise a few inches on the floor and pop with flaming heat bubbles, Sammy is very glad they met these creatures. How long does this last? Thomas asks. Will be a while before we can walk on floor again. But we can carry you across the ceiling if you trust us, says the voice. Okay. As long as you promise not to drop us, we will burn up in seconds in that stuff, Sammy says. It is easy for us to move on ceiling. Will be no problem to carry you too. Do you want to go see your big friend? You know about Calvin? Thomas asked. Yes, he is the largest Troger we have ever seen, the voice ends up. Send me your comments, guys.